your parents are both first-generation immigrants, is that correct?
That's correct.
So both Polish?
Both Polish.
All right. You were born here, though, right?
I was born here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I was born here, but they spoke just Polish at home. So I was a citizen, but I went to like preschool and kindergarten, basically being English as a second language kid.
Yeah, that's crazy. So thinking back on that, how much of that, well, bad stuff's going to happen, got to let it roll off. How much of that was instilled in you from your parents? And how much of that do you feel is a product of them being immigrants from a country that was, up until very recently, part of the Soviet bloc?
Oh, I think a lot of it is the short answer. I underestimate on a routine basis, and largely because I live in the United States, how much of myself and my kind of understanding of the world is based on a different culture. I speak Polish fluently, and for the first half of my life, it literally was half of my life. It wasn't like 10% of the time or 20% of the time. It was my mom, my dad, my brother, and a large community of Polish immigrants that surrounded us in that area of New Jersey that rubbed off on me. These weren't, wealthy people. They weren't connected people. They were scrappy survivors in the American experience. I think I could go through the foibles of my childhood for days. Yeah, man. I mean, ups, downs, lefts, rights, and, everything in between. I think it was very much the nature of living with parents like that we figured it out. We made it happen. There was a certain amount of compulsion to help the people around you. So I resented my parents for a long time. For example, when they made me do like tax preparation, because my dad had a side business doing tax prep for other Polish-speaking immigrants. And I did that from like the age of 5 up until end of high school, maybe first or second year, of college. So it was a really long slog of just trying to pull in a couple extra bucks because this, that, or the other had to happen. The American friends around me did normal American things, and I was at home, filling out a Form 1040 Easy for some random dude that was doing construction. The fuck did I know about like taxes? I was just, I was helping out,
Yeah, I can't imagine that. What were you doing? Were you running numbers at 5?
But like, so basic, we're talking like addition, subtraction, but like with the assistance of mom and dad a little bit. I mean, by the time end of grade school rolled around, so like, 4th grade, basic 1040 Easy, like a W-2 tax return, it's just plug and play. You don't really need much more than addition, subtraction, et cetera, the basic operations of math. To be fair, a lot of it was also interpreting, like, if someone wrote a letter to them in English, it would be try to explain it in Polish, and then they would make a decision on what to do. So it made me grow up a little quicker and serve as kind of like a middleman between two worlds, neither of which I fully belonged to.
Yeah, I can imagine that was tough.
It really was. Again, it was what it was. It was a circumstance, and I think it definitely colors my approach to how things work out. But was it easy? Probably not. I probably resented a lot of it for a while.
Yeah. How do you feel like that shaped you now? Like, what's carried over? Do you feel like that's helped you get to where you are now, if anything?
As a younger version of myself, I remember being extremely anxious about possibilities and things that can happen in life, and whether that was in the educational setting, in the personal setting, most contexts. But the exposure, meaning being placed in these scenarios where maybe I wasn't comfortable, but I still found a way to function, has, made me much more tolerable of not risk, but like variability. Whether it's medicine or just assembling a life and kind of guiding household goals, it has made me accept that not every surgery is going to work out perfect. Not every investment is going to do great. Not every part of my house is going to function or last forever. But it's okay, because quintessential. Tomorrow's another day. I get to start over, choose my actions, and progress in whatever way I think works to my benefit or not. If I feel like I need to take a break, I take a break. So it
sounds like resilience in a nutshell.
Yes. If we were going to summarize it in one word.
Did you notice big differences between home life? Did you go and hang out at your American friends' homes, and was there a big difference between what you experienced in the home, how you were parented, anything that was remarkably different from the American experience?
I just recall there being many more things, like physical things, in households that were American, or like just coordinated things, For example, when my parents had furniture, for the first 10 years of my life, it was literally used furniture from construction, like other people, immigrants that did construction. So they would, know houses that they were flipping or turning over, and it was just used shit. It was super ugly, flower patterns that nobody else wanted. Or even with the updated furniture that's in my mom's house now was discount warehouse furniture that was just good enough. We'll throw a soft blanket on it, and it's hard as shit. It's basically it feels like you're sitting on cardboard. But we never had a lazy boy, if you will. So it was different to see that with my friends. It was never a good option to refuse a request from my parents, and not because I was physically harmed. There was an occasional spanking here and there, but I was never beaten to a pulp. But there was always a stern threat, if you don't do what I want, you personally will not get what you want. So there was a transactional nature to a significant portion of our interaction as, parent and child. Even though I'll say it, I love both of my parents. They are amazing to me. And I think that I have found a way to approach that viewpoint with more kindness. They struggled. They struggled a lot. They did not come up in New Jersey. New Jersey was a foreign land for them. And the amount of stress that they must have been under as adults in their late 30s, I can't imagine. I mean, I feel stressed just putting, my shit together right now. And I feel like I know a lot more than they did. So, yeah, I get it. I didn't love it, but I get it now.
Yeah, it sounds like you didn't really, even if you noticed more material things in your friends' houses, it doesn't sound like you perceived yourself as poor or less than at any point.
No, I did not perceive myself as poor, because it's odd. I think this is where perspectives matter so much. The saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. The taxes, I hated doing them, but I was making straight cash as a kid in middle school, high school. So I wasn't poor, but I was different. And I think that influenced my thinking a lot because it made me realize that there's so many different ways to go about life that, what's a loss for someone else is a gain for others. And I think it rubs off because that kind of permutated into that perseverance or resilience that exists.